everyone. Thanks for being here. You caught us mid-conversation. We're just having a lot of fun. Sorry that you were late to the party, but if you're late to the party, you missed all the fun. And that's it. Good night, everyone. Just kidding. I'm Nick Baldwin, and what's your name?
I'm Tristan Ahumada. It's not Ahumada. It's not Abumada. It's not Ahumadada. It's Ahumada.
It's not Akuna Matata.
It's not Akuna Matata, although that's a good one. I love that one.
I do. Tristan Hakuna Almada.
That's its own word, man.
Hakuna Almada.
I could dance
What
to
a
that.
wonderful name.
Dude, you got some nice chords there.
La 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 la. All right, everyone. Drop in the chat where you're from, where you're watching
City,
us from.
state,
If you're
country.
yeah, I mean if you're watching us from a place where you're not from, you can just put that place where you're in. You don't have to put the
Yeah, are you on vacation?
Yeah, if you're on vacation, just put where you're at. Oh, good. We like to make sure everyone can hear us and to see if our awesome attendees can follow directions, which it looks like they all are following directions. So welcome to real estate side hustles that actually make you money. Let's just be real, guys. Real estate isn't as easy as it used to be. It's tough, dude. It's tough. And if you don't have multiple streams of income, it can be even tougher, especially since the first quarter of this year, this is just spitting facts, Tristan. The least amount of homes sold in the history of recorded home sales. Well, that's not true. The least amount of the least amount of homes sold, like at least in the last decade, was this quarter.
Yeah, there you
At
go.
least in the last decade.
You got it. You got it.
So you need to make money. So with tight markets, picky buyers, unpredictable commissions, relying on closings alone can feel like a roller coaster, and not the kind that we love, the kind that we hate. And that's why
I don't like roller coasters,
I don't
period.
like it's a roller coaster that makes you throw up.
I don't just,
Yeah.
especially
Hey,
the
were you at
carnival ones, the
Yeah.
localized ones. I can't go on those.
Hey, were you at Disney the other day?
I was at Disney two Wednesdays ago, I think.
Oh, because Janice just posted some pictures, so I looked like Disney to me.
She always posts them late, you know.
Hey, Zach, you're early, dude.
What's up, Zach? Good job.
Turn off your
I love that you're
camera.
early.
Turn off your camera for about another 35 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Love you guys.
I mean, listen, you're
Zach.
very handsome. You just are too handsome for this.
I'm trying to keep up with you, man.
You'll
You're
listen,
too
you'll
handsome.
ruin the vibe, Zach. We're not as
You're
handsome
too
as you are.
handsome for this conversation. You'll take away from the ugliness of
I've
home
missed you
leading.
guys. I feel like I haven't seen you guys since San Diego, since the lab put it in.
It's been a while,
Crazy,
buddy.
dude.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's wild. So much has changed since then. So, well, I'm gonna go go change so I don't look like I'm in gym attire, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
See, Zach wears gym clothes because he actually exercises. Okay.
Hey.
So, okay. So if you're looking for new ways or real ways to make money, not just like, not just, hey, sign me up and make rev share. We're talking real money.
Yeah, well,
without walking away from real estate, this is an event that you want to tune into. So let's talk about what's actually working.
Yep. Here, I want to just say something really quick, and then we'll bring in Hans. You can intro him. The easy thing to forget is that brokerages are already doing that. They've been doing it for years. Zillow's doing it. They've been doing it for years, right? They've realized that it's just not one source. Brokerages can't just make money from other agents. They need to do title. They need to do escrow. They need to do loans. They need to sell whatever else they sell. Ancillary products. Zillow does the same thing. They went downstream and they said, hey, we can't just sell to agents. We've got to take a piece of their commission as well. On top of that, we need to charge a platform fee. Why don't we buy Loop, Showing Time, and all these other companies and do something like that as well? Builders too. JR, you got it. Now let's get started, buddy. I love this.
Yeah, JR said one stream is too close to none. So here's what we're going to do. Tristan's going to hop off for a little while to go exercise.
I'm going to go work out. Nick. Did I lose you, Nick, or did I lose me?
And he'll be back in an hour or so. So it's just going to be me and our first guest. So Tristan, and by the way, yes, this is being recorded. I should have worn my "yes, this is being recorded" t-shirt, but I forgot to wear that. It's a real t-shirt. My friend Kim Rock gave it to me. It's a legitimate real t-shirt. Okay. So let's jump in. So Tristan, if you have to go, go. If you don't want to go, you can hang out. I mean, I'm fine either way, really. Just decide what you want to do now.
Listen, I'll be back, damn it. I'll be back, okay?
Okay, fine. Sheesh.
Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, let's get into it. Our first guest is Hans Stone. Hans, if you're there, turn on your camera. I'm just going to do a little intro for you. We're going to talk about mortgage opportunities for agents with Hans. And Hans has been in this business, real estate and mortgage, for about 20 years. He is a seasoned entrepreneur who's built multiple streams of income, all rooted in the real estate industry. In addition to co-founding a successful mortgage company, he owns and operates Bell Palms Wellness Homes, a group of residential care facilities for the elderly, which he launched in 2009. Also owns short and long-term rental properties, as well as commercial building leased back to one of his businesses. Hey, that's a brilliant idea. His approach centers around finding creative ways to diversify income while leveraging the tools, relationships, and expertise that agents already have access to. So thanks for being here, Hans. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Nick. Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So, mortgage is one of those things that a lot of agents are kind of thinking about these days. Kind of goes hand in hand. It's a one-stop shop. That's kind of where, when Tristan briefly mentioned, a lot of these brokerages like and Zillow including are diversifying mortgage, title, just trying to get this one-stop shop. I mean, look at what Rocket's doing with buying Redfin and then buying Mr. Cooper and all these things. So agents can be a one-stop shop too, yes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I want to share with you guys a little bit today is how to do it properly, because I think there's a lot that goes on that don't fully understand it. And there's just a lot of opportunity to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. So you have a presentation for us. If you want to go ahead and share your screen and get it going. And then as you're presenting, I'll watch the chat for any questions, and I'll also jump in with some of my own questions too. Hey, Valerie, just a little early, so just turn off your camera and we'll get to you in about, 40 minutes or so. Probably an hour, give or take.
All right. Nick, can you, am I sharing?
Yep, I can see it perfectly.
Excellent. So I don't need to do much of an intro. Nick, you did a wonderful job there. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Enough about me. This is about you guys, of how we can hopefully help you figure out how to increase your revenue. And specifically, we're going to talk about how to increase your revenue through mortgages. Now, as I said initially, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, especially the last 6 months with the NAR settlement. I think there's a lot of buyers out there that are looking for other ways to increase their revenue. Some may have, their income may have been reduced, and others may have not. But I think it really got a lot of folks, especially in the real estate industry, thinking about what else should I be looking at? What can we do? And this is the most popular and the most common question that we get on a regular basis is, how do we do this and how do we do it the correct way? Because the mortgage industry is heavily regulated. As far as regulations, most of what we're going to talk about falls under the RESPA regulation, and the oversight is by the CFPB. Now, CFPB has been reduced lately. I don't think that's an opportunity for people to start doing things unethically, because the states will take over. There will still be plenty of oversight. So we want to make sure we do this the right way. I think the most important thing you guys should realize or understand of what can get you in trouble is the compensation. There should not be any compensation on referrals, right? It's how you're compensated is very specific, and we're going to go into more details about that. But just remember, the most important thing, no compensation on referrals. And then full transparency. Document everything that you do and make sure that all parties are in the know. That'll keep you out of trouble. So the first option, we're gonna go over 3 different options here to share with you today. The first one is called a JV, which is essentially a partnership. It's where we create an entity that is owned by 2 parties, one being the mortgage company, and in this conversation, the other one is by, typically it would be a brokerage. And in doing so, we create a separate entity that can operate to support mortgage business as a whole. It can support the partner's business or the brokerage's business. It can support any business it wants to because it's a neutral entity. The thing is, we're kind of joining forces to share in our resources to be able to provide financing for the transactions that we're all involved in. Now, how do you get paid? In this situation, it is by profit share. So again, it is an entity. In other words, it's a corporation. And so the only compensation that can be shared is through the profit sharing of each party at the end. I want to give you an example. I see it. There used to be a lot of JVs performed over the years. You don't see it as often because I think there were too many created based on too low of a volume. I created a scenario here for you at a $10 million volume. Personally, I won't create a $10 million JV unless there is an opportunity to get to 20 and a really good opportunity to get to 20, just because it takes so much management of it because it is a new corporation that most don't consider. Because think about it. If I'm the owner of a mortgage company and Nick, you're the owner of a real estate company, and we partner to create a JV, that's great. But who's going to manage the business? Who's going to oversee the employees? Who's going to be in charge of compliance? So these are the areas that often get overlooked, rather than usually just looking at the profitability and not what it takes to run a successful business. I'll start with this one, $10 million in volume. Let's say that produces a gross revenue of 200,000, expenses about 135,000. So profit of 65,000, not bad. Share that 50-50. That's an extra revenue source of 32,500 per month. Couple more do's and don'ts. You definitely want to get legal advice when creating a JV. Again, proper disclosures, make sure that everything is documented, and then have a clear understanding of ownership and how the payouts are going to be structured. Again, no referrals, and you cannot require the business to come to the JV lender. You can only suggest it. It's important to remember we cannot steer clients in mortgage. Option number 2, and this one I think has got a lot more publicity here recently since NAR settlement, and that is to get licensed as an MLO. So to get licensed, obviously there's a licensing process with the federal and state. Compensation can range anywhere from 0.5 point to 2%, depending on where you're located within the country and the type of business as it is. For example, if you're in California, you're probably going to be somewhere between 0.5 point to 1. Now, if you're in other parts of the country where maybe loan amounts are much lower, 150, 200,000, a lot of those comps are structured at around 2%. So depending on where you're located, is generally based on the loan amount itself. Most important here, here's an important part. You cannot represent both as the LO and the agent in most states. So you have to consider that and how you're going to structure that when you are the agent on the transaction, who is now going to be the loan officer to support it. Pros and cons, it's a new income stream. You can deepen the experience because you can essentially have more control over the communication throughout the process. So if that's really important to you, you can maintain that to a higher level. And the cons, no dual representation. There is ongoing CE compliance. In other words, you've got your initial licensing, then you have your annual state and federal licensing to keep up, and obviously compliance risk to make sure that you're doing everything to par. And I put a bonus in here because I really like this option. If you're considering to get your license as an MLO, as an originator, I co-founded the company I'm at now 5.5 years ago. I still originate today. And when this question comes up with agents wanting to get into originating loans, my first question is, how are you going to do that? Are you going to educate yourself at the level that you need to truly support your clients at a level to be able to provide them the advice and the guidance that they're going to need in order to make sure they're getting the right mortgage with the right structure that best suits them? And the reality is probably not. Unless you're truly invested to do both, you're not going to have that deep knowledge. So I like this model. And what it allows you to do is become a junior loan officer. So essentially, you're still on the transaction, you're still involved in the transaction, but you have a senior loan originator on your team, and they're really driving the ship through the transaction on the finance side. But yet you're still involved, you still receive compensation, listed here somewhere between 20 and 50 basis points. Again, seamless client service because you're involved throughout the entire process, and you're getting hands-on learning. You're going to learn from a senior originator and really learn the skills that you need in order, to truly drive and be successful as an originator. And pros and cons, we touched on that: trusted, seamless client services,
Oh,
added
sorry.
revenue.
My mic was muted. I had a quick question for you.
Oh, sure.
If you want to go back to the previous slide.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right there. Would you say that if someone still wants to maintain like a real estate business full time, because it can be very difficult to do two things at once that are, and sometimes offer exceptional service. Because a loan originator and a real estate agent, those are two really full-time jobs. So do you think that like going the junior loan originator model would definitely allow the person to continue also do mortgages, but focus more primarily on the real estate business? Is that one of the reasons why you think they should go that route?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really difficult to be an expert in both areas. Like you said, it's a full-time job. This allows you to kind of get your toes in the water, and maybe it's a slow transition. You can still earn revenue, but you're still giving your client the best service, in my opinion, because you still have an expert as a senior loan officer really driving that ship.
Cool.
And the third option I want to share with you is called an MSA. Now, these have been around for a while. These also have the most lawsuits around them because people, they don't do it the right way. They get lazy. They start basing it on referrals. They start basing it on volume, which you can't do. So an MSA is simply just a marketing service agreement. Lender, realtor partner, or brokerage partner and say, okay, we're going to do XYZ marketing services. I'm going to pay this much. You're going to pay, that much. And together we get to create the marketing services and pay for those services combined for the business that we generate together. What happens is too often is they base it on the revenue, or they base it on the transactions, they base it on the production, which ties them back to referral based, and that's how they're getting into litigation. That's how they're getting themselves in trouble. Again, this is the most common, but also the one that has the most, the highest chance here is you're going to get in trouble if you don't do it right. There's always the right way to do it. You just have to take your time and make sure it's done properly. Now, compliance checklist. I know we all love compliance, but again, if you're going to step into the mortgage side of the business, you really, really have to make sure that you've got your compliance under control. Full disclosures, never accept payments for referrals. Everything must be in writing, clear as day, contracts, and consult with a professional. I've got an attorney here at the end I'll share with you. She's phenomenal and is just an absolute great resource for anybody that's looking to go down this channel. Kind of sum up the examples of possible earnings for everyone here. So as a JV, again, this is a partnership in a new corporation. Let's say it could bring an additional $100,000 a year for that brokerage. An MLO, we're looking more at the agent level. They could bring anywhere, 25 to 50,000, depending if they're a junior loan officer or originating and taking the lead as the MLO. And again, I listed down here, it could distract from real estate business, Nick, just as you brought up earlier.
Yeah, that's funny that you wrote that because I didn't even see your slides beforehand.
it's when you're in the business, it's all about the customer. It's all about driving the business, right? It's not about the transaction. It's about the business itself. And how do you do that? You have to be the best. You have to serve. And I just find it difficult to do two full-time jobs really, really well. So again, that's just my opinion. The takeaways we've gone over here, and I wanted to share with you. Here's a great article for anybody who's interested, wants to know more. Here in wake of NAR settlement, dual licensing carries RESPA seeking risk. This is an article, you can Google it, read it. It's a great read. It's really short. It'll give you some insight from Daniela, and she is just very knowledgeable on this subject and a great resource again. And I believe, let's see, oh, there's her contact information if you guys want to screenshot that. And
Daniela Daniela is who again?
She's a partner at Mitchell Sandler. She's just an expert in this area of understanding the regulations and the proper way to create a partnership between real estate and lenders.
And so how would someone start the process of getting licensed or certified or whatever that is as a loan officer?
The first step is you need to take your NMLS. So there's several schools out there. You just need to schedule, take the, study obviously for it, take your federal test. There's a state part of the test. Once you become licensed, then you have to find a lender that will sponsor you. In other words, you have kind of like same as a real estate agent, you have to hang your license under a mortgage company. Now, you're likely not able to do that under a bank. On the mortgage side, there's really three, call it platforms, if you will. You have your banks, which we call a brick and mortar. You have your independent mortgage bankers, which is a mortgage banker, and then you have brokers. So if you're going to get in this space, it's going to be an independent mortgage banker or a broker that you need to partner with. As a broker, you'll hang your license. As a banker, you'll actually become an employee of that company. Now, you could be outside sales. There's ways that you can navigate it so that you're not having to clock in and be an actual 8 to 5 employee. Outside sales, work as many or as few hours as you want to.
So are there any conflicts of interest? Like, is every state, I don't know the laws in every state, obviously we should check the laws, but like, what are the conflicts of interests? I mean, I'm sure every state has different rules around being representing your clients in a real estate transaction and helping them get a loan. Are there any states that you know of that maybe doesn't allow that, or how does that work?
Well, most states are not going to allow you to be on the same transaction.
Okay,
right? So
okay.
If you're the realtor on it, that's what I say. You've got to find somebody else has to be the lender. Now, it could be somebody else in the office. It just can't be you. There may be one or two states that allow it. They're still figuring this thing out because it is relatively new to be able to offer these services. You used to be able to do it, then they stopped it. Now they're bringing it back again. So there is a little bit of a gray area. So state by state has their own rules. And that's why I say you really have to do your research to make sure that you're going to stay compliant.
Right, because that's super important. Yeah, do you feel you mentioned like it's relatively new. Do you feel so like how new do you think that this dual license has been going on? I mean, is it because I feel like it's just relatively over the last couple of years maybe that it's taken off the way it's taken off.
Well, the NAR settlement really brought it back to light again.
Okay.
At different capacities, we've been able to do this for years, probably 15, 20 years, as long as I've been in the business. Now, the rules change from time to time, what you can do, what you can't. You can't do it if you're an FHA or VA. Now you can. So the rules change from time to time, but there's just a lot more light on this because of the conversations about, especially around buyer's agents. Are they going to be missing out on revenue? What are some other ways they can supplement? And probably even more than the agents are the brokerages. We get a lot of calls from brokerages trying to figure out because they're nervous that their revenue is going to drop and looking for ways to partner in other streams of revenue to be able to offset any potential losses.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So let me see if there's a few questions in the chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me just take a look here. Oh, someone posted an article saying that um, FHA now allows, quote, double dipping on loans. Is that true?
They do. Yeah, they do. Correct. That's a
Okay.
recent change that came up. As I was saying before, they did not allow it for years, and they've recently lifted that.
So if you have a client who's going FHA, you can represent them as their mortgage lender.
You just can't represent them both in most states as the lender and realtor on the same transaction. You
I
have to pick
gotcha.
one.
Okay.
You have to
Okay.
pick one.
That makes sense. Um, let's see. So yeah, so someone says that they're dual license in Texas as well. I'm just trying to see if there's any comments or questions. How about VA?
Yeah,
Does VA allow that?
yeah. I'm pretty sure they also allow when the rule came out with FHA. FHA and VA usually partner pretty tight on the regulations to allow it. And again, that was a rule that passed here recently.
So, okay, so somebody asked in the chat, Rhonda asked, okay, so not every LO works for every situation or client. Is there any conflict using another loan officer or company for clients if an agent holds their MLO license with a specific firm?
There's not. No.
Because
No
it's
reason
really
not
not
to.
up to the agent who the client chooses.
Correct. It goes back to before. Remember, we can't steer, we can't force them to use a specific lender. We can incentive, the seller could incentivize them to use a specific lender. That's how builders do it, right? It's how builders capture the business. They incentivize them for using a specific lender, but you can't force them or require them to.
Got it. Awesome. Hans, thank you so much. Any final thoughts or comments that you want to add before we move
Oh,
on?
I'm going to share, let me put my information back up here. If
Okay.
anybody has any questions, wants to know more and have a conversation about it or understand, or where to find information, I'm happy to have a conversation, talk further into this. Please reach out to me. My telephone number, my email address is there. I'm happy to have the conversation.
Yeah, and in the chat, we just posted a link, blueprinthomeloans.com/work with blue, BLU, in the chat if you want to click on that. If they click on that, what does that show them?
It's just going to show them it's a landing page and they can enter to, it's basically contact me and then I'll follow up with them, schedule an appointment. We can go deeper and discuss it. I mean, I guess there is one last thing I want to share. So we're already doing this. So we do this. We're experienced on how to do this the right way. Again, you hear me saying that because we're all professionals. This is our career, right? So we want to make sure we do it the right way. We've got partners across the country. We're licensed in 49 states. We're just not in New York. So we've got partners with builders, with brokerages, with corporations all across the country. So use this as a resource if you have questions and want to go deeper in this.
Yeah, so Michael in the chat says if you're working for mortgage brokers, clients have a wide choice of lenders, no steering, which is, exactly right. So it's, no conflict of interest if they don't use you. In fact, it's probably, it's up to the customer who they want to use. I mean, if you have the best mortgage package for them or the best rate or whatever it might be, they'll choose you, but just give them the option to choose you, don't steer them in your direction. So that's a good.
Right. I thought of one more thing too. It's really important. So for all the agents, talk to your broker. If you're not a broker, talk to your broker first before you go down this, because some brokers won't allow it just because they don't want the conflict of interest, that they don't want to deal with the compliance. They don't want that oversight, so they won't allow it. So, I would start with your broker first, have the conversation. And if it's something that you guys want to dive into, again, give me a call. We can discuss it. Or anybody else out there that you want to partner with as
Awesome.
well. But yeah, start with your broker first.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Hans, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're traveling, so extra thanks to you for making the time for us. I know you're in a busy location, but we heard everything you said. There was no background noises or anything. It went well.
Thanks for being patient with me, Nick. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, appreciate you. All right, Hans, have a great one.
All right, guys. Take care. Thank you.
See ya.